Hello students, welcome back to the Computer Science second PUC classes. Let me continue the chapter 7 classes and objects. As you know, I have already explained you the introduction, definition and declaration of classes and objects, access specifiers, members of the class in the session 16. Today we'll see the defining objects of a class, member functions, arrays as a members of a class, array of objects, and objects as a function arguments. That is session 17. So let me explain you the first concept, defining objects of a class. When a class is defined, it specifies the type information the objects of the class store. Once the class is defined, an object is created from that class. The object of a class are declared in the same manner like any other variable declaration what you people have seen in C++ program. So let me give you the basic syntax how we can define the class. That is, by using class keyword we will specify the class name, that is a user defined name what we are calling. The class opens with the opening flower bracket or a brace, and here we are by using the access specifiers will specify the members, that is data and function. We are using access specifiers private, protected, public, and the class will be closed with the closing flower bracket or a brace followed by semicolon. Now how we are creating the objects of this class? So first what you have to do, you have to make use of this user defined name and then objects. You can create a one object or you can create a more than one objects by putting the comma between the objects names, and it should be terminated by using semicolon. So let me make you more clear by giving you a simple example. Now here I've created class of type student, that is a user defined name. I opened the class and I've used private access specifier, and I've created two member data, that is roll number is the integer type and name of character type with the 20 character size. Then I've used one more access specifier, that is a public, and I've created two member functions, void get data as well as void display data. I've closed class by brace followed by semicolon. Now here the student is a user defined name. By using this I've created S1, S2 objects. I can go on more than that, or I can terminate it here itself by putting semicolon. This is the way we are defining objects of a class. How exactly we will use in C++ program? So let me show you by showing the use of defining the objects of a class. I'll take same example which I shown you in the last session, that is in session 16. So let me take same example, that is a class rectangle, and I've opened the class, and in the private section I have created 3 member data of integer type, L, B and area. In the public section I have created first member function, that is void get data, and as you know, by specifying the message on screen, that is enter the length and breadth, and using console input statement I have read data from the keyboard and I stored in the variable L and B. And the next member function is used to compute the area and to display on the screen. Now here I am calculating the area, that is area equal to L into B, and the next statement will be used to display, that is area of rectangle is, and the value what you calculated, what is there in area variable, will be displayed on the screen, and that function is closed. And then followed by the class we closed, and we have created the main function, and there I have created the rectangle class, 3 objects. R1, R2 and R3 are objects of rectangle class. Now here what I am doing, R1 get data and R1 area compute. Similarly R2 get data, R2 area compute. Similarly R3 get data, R3 area compute. I can make use of for any purpose these objects. Now this just for an example to specify for you, to make you clear, I have specified here. I can use for any purpose. Then finally I have returned the 0. The reason, the return type of main function is integer. For that reason I have used return 0. Then I have closed the main program. This is the way the objects of the classes will be defined and will be used in the program. Going for the next concept, that is member function. What is a member function? A function declared as a member of a class is known as a member function. The member functions can be defined in 2 places. The first one is there inside class definition. To define a member function inside a class, the function declaration within the class is replaced by actual function definition inside the class. A function defined in a class is treated as a inline function. And what is inline function? I will deal with you little later. Only the small functions are defined inside the class definition. So big functions, whatever it is there, so that is normally we will define outside the class. What is the syntax for a member function inside a class? What syntax will be used? So we are using the return type specifier, and then member function name, and then argument list. This is optional, it is not necessary. The argument must be there in the function. It is 0 arguments, or one argument, two argument, or n number of arguments may be there in that function, and there will be a function body will be there. Okay, that function body will be enclosed with the braces or flower brackets. Similarly, the one more type is outside class definition. You can define a member function can be outside the class. The member function declared within a class must be defined separately outside the class. The definition of a member function is similar to a normal function. There's nothing is the difference. What we are normal functions is in similar way. But the member function has an identity label in the header. Now how you'll come to know this function is belongs to this class only. So what we need a identity label, and that will be there in the header. How exactly is there, I'll tell you. And this label tells the compiler which class the function belongs to. The scope of the member function is limited to the class mentioned in the header, and for this what we are using, the scope resolution operator, that is this one. So normally to define member function outside a class, the function declaration outside the class by using scope resolution operator. So let me show you the syntax, so that time it will make you more clear. Now see here, first what you have to do, you have to specify the return type as similar the normal function. Okay, and you have to specify the member function and then argument list, which I told just now. But what is difference here? You have to make use of the class name and then scope resolution operator. So this is, it's in the header as I said. This is what tells the compiler and this member function is belongs to which class. Now here this class name is there, and this will be identif label, and compiler will come to know, yes, this function is belongs to this class, or this is a member of this class. And rest as usual, there is a function body enclosed with the flower bracket. So let me keep you in front of you some characteristics of member functions. The type and the number of arguments in the member function must be same as the type and the number of data declared inside the class definition. So even though you are declaring outside, so you will be, the prototype of that function will be there inside the class. That should be matches the number of arguments as well as the name and the return type and what is the data types you are using, that should be matches. And the second one is there, the symbol, this double colon what you are using, it is called scope resolution operator. And the usage of scope resolution operator along with the class name is the header of the function, that is here, to identify by the compiler. Third one, it tells several classes can use same function name. Function name can be same. Now for example, to read the data, okay, read data or get data, same function name can be used. And the membership label will be resolve their scope. Now this member function is belongs to what? So that is a name will be there, so that that class name will be there, no? So with that ambiguity will be, it goes off. So if it is same function name, if it is there, and then you will make use of scope resolution operator, and in front of that a class name will be there. So that time there wouldn't be any kind of ambiguity. And the next one I can tell you, the member function can access private data of that class. Other function cannot. Only this member function, if you are using outside, no, the private data of that class can be accessed. I'll make you clear while dealing with an example. So let me show you the first C++ program, how to use the member function inside class definition. So let me take a same example which I have just now I showed you, that is a rectangle. So I know how to define rectangle class. So that's by using class keyword I have created rectangle. I have given name for this class is rectangle. I opened it, and in the private section I have taken two variables, L and B, and in the public section I have created the one member function. Function definition itself is here. So function name, and then open the function. This is the function body, and this is enclosed with the flower bracket. So here what you know, enter the length and breadth, and see in L and B it reads. Similarly, one more function is there, that is area compute. Now this is function body begins, and this is the function body. Here area of rectangle is L into B displayed, and function is closed, class is closed. Now here these are the two member function, both member function inside the class, and this is applicable only for the small function. Now here I have used a small, only 2 line, 1 line is there code. So that is the reason this is applicable. Small function I can define inside the class only. So that as usual I can access in the main function. I have created here main function of return type specifier is integer, and I have created R1 object of rectangle, then R1 get data, R1 area compute. So this works, and return 0. This is an example for the use of member function inside class definition. So let me show you the use of member function outside class definition. To make you more clear, no, I'll use this same example so that you will get a clear idea. Now see here, I have created class rectangle, and in the private section I have used variable L as well as B. In the public section I have created function. Now this is a prototype I have specified inside the class. Now here followed by semicolon is here, so keep it in your mind. In a normal C program or a C++ program, the prototype of the function at the header level it will be there. So where you are specifying the what is function, how many types of arguments will be used, that will be specified. Similarly, in the class definition, in the public section you have to specify. I have closed the class by using a close bracket with a semicolon. Now this function I defined outside. See here, void rectangle scope resolution operator and get data, which is I told with you. Now here void is return type of this function. Now rectangle till scope resolution, this is identity, or you are identifying belongs to which class, and then get data. We are used the same. We don't have any types of arguments inside here, so we are not using here. You are just opening and closing parenthesis will be there, and the rest as usual. What you have seen in the inside class definition, so that itself is. Similar way, the second function, the void area compute. Now here also the first return type specifier we mentioned, then we wrote class name to just to identify this member function is belongs to which class, the scope resolution operator, and then the function name, and the function body as usual, which is I explained in the previous example. The difference between these two programs is where inside a class definition, both the function definition will be there inside the class, and whereas here the both functions are outside the class. This is the only difference in, and both functions same way. The working, the execution, everything, it's same. So the main program, main function, it's same as what you've seen in the last step. If you know this one, then you will not have any difficulty or a difference, and you should know. So that is how you can define a member function inside a class as well as outside the class. So let me go to the next concept, that is array as a members of a classes. Can we have a arrays as a members? Yes, of course, it's possible. We have seen in the normal C++ program, we used arrays as a variables. We created integer type of arrays, we created character type of arrays, we created float types of arrays. Similar way can we use in class definition as a member data. 100% it is possible. We can use array as a data member. An array can be used as a private or a public member of a class, as well as protected also. There is no problem. You can specify, it is there in user's hand. If you use as a public, then you can use it anywhere in the program. If you use this as a private, then it is limited to only that class. So let me show you the use of array as a member of class. So I'll take a C++ program, and that is I'll take one simple class, that is marks. I'll create a one variable, that is array type, that is m of 5. Integer type of array I've used with the size 5. And I've used one more variable, that is integer type of, that is I, for the indexing purpose. I've used two member function in the public section. Now if you see here, this is array what I've used, it is there in the private section. Now this array data can be accessed by only within this class, not outside this class. I've closed this class, and I've by using the member function outside the class, that way I define void. I've used class name, scope resolution operator, and then function name, that is setval, and the arguments void. I opened this function body. Now I displayed the message saying that enter the marks, and I've used for loop I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. So this for loop it repeats for 5 times. Now each time I've used that m of I. So m0 it will read, m1 it will read, m2 it will read, m3, m4. So 5 elements it will read. Similar way, I've used one more function, that is display. This is also in the form of a member function outside the class, that's void, and then class name is marks, scope resolution operator, and then function name display, and then arguments, that is void. The function opens, and then it just displayed one message, that is marks are. Then by using for loop, I'll display the marks on the screen. So I used for loop I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and then I've displayed C out, and then by IO manipulator set W, just to give the space between the values, and then m of I. In the first iteration it will display m0 value, in the second iteration m1, similarly m2, m3, m4, and it comes out. So this is what I've used array variables here. Now how to make use of in the main program? That's same. I've created object of marks m1, m1 set val, m1 display. Now what these will do, this will call this function and this will call this function. So while calling this, it will read the member data, will store 5 values, and this will be displayed the 5 values on the screen. This is the way you're making use of arrays as a members of a class. The next concept what we are going to see is array of objects. An array having class type elements is known as a array of objects. An array of objects is declared after class definition and is defined in the same way as any other array. That I can make you clear with the example itself. So let me take an example. So I have taken here employee as a class. I opened with the flower bracket. Then in the private section I have taken member data, name as well as age. Name is a character type and age is an integer type. In the public section I have taken two member function, that is get data as well as disp data, and I have closed the class. Now this is a skeleton of the class. Now how can I create a array of objects? How you will create an integer type of array? That's by specifying int then array name. Similar way here, class name and then that object by using brackets you can specify the size. That is, this is the way. Now here employee is a class name and this is the object name supervisor of 3. Now here what you know, I've created supervisor with the size of 3, and this object can store information about 3 supervisors. Similar way I've created one more, class is employee, sales executive of 5. That means sales executive object can store 5 different people's information or 5 different objects. Similar way I have used employee as a class name, team leader is an object of 10. So this is will able to store the 10 different values. Means now here example, now supervisor 3. So this is contains 3 objects just now I said. So that is supervisor 0, supervisor 1, supervisor 2. So 3 different. Similarly employee executive 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And team leader 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the way we can make use of objects as an array. Of course, with example, if I don't show you, you will not understand properly. So that's the reason I'll make use of this example, that is the use of array objects in the class. The C++ program begins with the header file iostream.h, and I've taken student as a class name, and in the private section I'll take integer type of 4 member data, that is roll number, m1, m2 and top. These are the 4 member data I've used. In the public section I've taken 2 functions as a members, that is get data and void display, and I've closed the class by using flower bracket followed by semicolon. Now I've defined these both the class outside the class definition, that is, this is the way, void student, then scope resolution operator, and then get data, the name of that member function, and then opened function body. In the function body I've displayed enter the roll number, and then by using console input I've read and I stored in the roll number in the member data. Similarly, I've used to enter the marks and I've stored in M1 and M2 variables or member data, and I've closed this function. I defined the second function, that is by using void as a return type specifier and then class name student, scope resolution operator, and then wrote the function name display. Open function body by putting open flower bracket, and first I've calculated the total marks dot equal to M1 plus M2, and I've displayed cout roll number, and then total marks dot, and I've closed this function. Now I made use of main function with the integer type of return type specifier I put, and I've created object of student, that is CS30. So this will hold 30 students information. Now I've used for loop for I equal to 0 to I less than 30 I plus plus. Now CS of I get data. Now CS of 0, CS of 1, CS of 2, CS of 3 up to 29 it load. So it's 30 students information it will read one by one. That's for loop you are making use of. One by one, 30 students information it will read from the keyboard. Similar way, this one I've used second for loop, that for I equal to 0, I less than 30, I plus plus, CS of I dot display. I called the display function. Now this will be displays 30, whatever you read from the keyboard, the information will be displayed on the screen one by one. First it will display CS of 0, CS of 1, CS of 2, CS of 3, so on. So this is a funda. So wherever you will make use of arrays, their looping comes, because for the repeating purpose, same code will be repeated for the specified iterations. So that you have to keep it in your mind. Okay. So according to that, this I have showed here. Going for the next concept, that is objects as a function arguments. A function can receive an object as a function argument. This is similar to any other data type being sent as a function argument. An object can be passed to a function in two ways. The first one is their copy of entire object is passed to function, that is pass by values, and the second one is there only address of the object is transferred to the function, that is called pass by reference. In pass by value, a copy of the object is passed to the function. The function creates its own copy of the object and uses it. Therefore, the changes made to the object inside the function do not affect the original object. Here only duplicate copy will be sent. Okay. Original place will take a photocopy and that will be sent to the function. So that's the reason it will not be affect to the what original value will be there. There it will not affect anything. The second one is their pass by reference, right? When an address of an object is passed to the function directly works on original object used in a functional call. Means the changes made to the object inside the function will reflect in the original object, because the function is making changes in original object itself. So directly it will be access the value where it is stored. Pass by reference is more efficient since it requires only to pass the addresses of the object and not the entire object. Whereas first one is their entire photocopy you have to send. Here you just pass the address. The rest work will be done by itself. The last concept, what I just wanted to keep it in front of you, that is the difference between the structure and classes. Of course, structure is defined with the struct keyword, class is defined with the class keyword. And the second one is all the member of structures are public by default. But in the class, by default, it is private. Even though we are 3 access specifier using, in the class, the member of classes are by default private. Structure cannot be inherit. We cannot access the items of the another structure. But class can be inherited. We can, deriving a new class, we can inherit from the existing one. The structure contains only data member, whereas a class contains both data as a member, function as a member. There is no data hiding feature in structure, but classes having data hiding feature by using access specifiers. That's what we are using: public, private, protected. So these are the major difference between structure and classes. So I think I made you clear the classes are much better than structures. Dear students, this is end of chapter 7, that is classes and objects. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And at the same time, I just reminding you people, don't forget to comment on my lecture as well as refer for others to subscribe my channel for further information. May God bless you.